the focus tends to be on the operators and what the operators are not doing, but the silent decay in the background is the supply chain, the strength that we built up over several decades within the North Sea is moving elsewhere because there is such high demand in the Middle East, in Africa, and that's probably my biggest concern.
Hello, I'm Ed Reed from E-FWD, and I'm here today with Darren Sutherland from Borr Drilling. Darren, how are you finding the show? How is ADIPEC for you?
Almost overwhelming. It's fantastic. There's a lot to see. The energy, excuse the pun, is fantastic. A lot of presence from not only vendors but all the companies are here. So yeah, it's been a great event so far.
And you've moved out to the region recently, haven't you? What is it about the? I feel it's in some ways it's a stupid question to say. But what is it about the Middle East that has seen you put this more of a focus?
Yeah, so I've recently relocated to our head office here in Dubai, and the energy here in the Middle East, not only around projects within the region, but on a global basis, really feels like it's growing quite significantly. Unfortunately, as you're aware, in the UK, we're on a bit of a decline. But here, we're attracting a lot of talent. A lot of vendors are moving their bases to the Middle East, particularly Dubai, the free zones. And that's providing us with an opportunity to try and seek some cost reductions in our supply chain and also access more talent pools.
And so thinking about Borr and your fleet, I mean, give us an overview.
Yeah, certainly. So Borr Drilling, we've got 24 jackups, 23 currently deployed. Our most active region is probably Mexico. We've got 7 rigs over there right now with our partner rigs as well. We have 1 in Brazil. And then when we come to West Africa, we've got 5 along the West African coastline, 1 in North Africa in Libya. We're down to 1 in the North Sea, unfortunately, 3 in the Middle East, and the remainder are all in Southeast Asia. So quite a nice global footprint and well balanced.
And so are there particular areas that look exciting to you? I mean, I suppose you mentioned Mexico.
Mexico is definitely a good region for us. With Pemex now getting some of its financial difficulties sorted out with loans coming in from the US, that looks like it's going to be a good, strong market for us. We've had operations there for almost 6 years, and we see that as being a continued market for good, solid growth. West Africa at this minute is very, very active for us. We've had a high concentration of rigs in around Congo, but now we're starting to see areas that have been inactive in the shallow water segment coming back to life, such as Benin, Equatorial Guinea, Ivory Coast, and even Nigeria is starting to ramp back up again. They've been very quiet for quite some time now, about 5 or 6 years. So that's probably the hottest market for Borr at the minute. Southeast Asia is a little bit soft. But we hear Aramco's picking up more rigs again here into next year, so that should help the Middle East sector.
And I feel I've got to ask about the North Sea. I mean, I feel like, clearly we're seeing, challenges coming out of the EPL, coming out of those kind of questions around new exploration. I mean, presumably it feels like for you guys, you kind of, you're sort of seeing the decline in kind of real time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the focus tends to be on the operators and what the operators are not doing, but the silent decay in the background is the supply chain, the strength that we built up over several decades within the North Sea is moving elsewhere because there is such high demand in the Middle East, in Africa. And that's probably my biggest concern. We can remove the EPL tax, we can start reinvesting, but my concern is the ability for the supply chain and the willingness of the supply chain to ramp back up again there in the North Sea sector.
Yeah. And so thinking about the future, I mean, you mentioned Saudi, you mentioned sort of Southeast Asia, maybe kind of coming back. Where do you see the sort of the hotspots in the, say, the next sort of 12, 24 months?
I think definitely West Africa. If Saudi do indeed ramp up again, then the Middle East will become another hotspot. There's talks of the lump sum turnkey contracts that they've been talking about for years, about that coming to fruition now. So I think those 2 regions are probably going to be the key areas for, certainly in my sector, which is the shallow water jack-up segment.
And what are the obstacles that you're seeing? What are the challenges?
Challenges. I can talk quite fluently about West Africa. It's bureaucracy and administration. It's a very difficult regime. Well, most of the regimes are very difficult to work in down there. Probably then the supply chain and people.
Yeah.
Getting good quality people who are willing to travel. Supply chain has been squeezed from all sides, trying to adapt to the new norm whilst combating things like tariffs, inflation. So those are the kind of two key challenges we face at the moment.
And it feels like, I mean, I suppose, look, you're in a very global business. You're kind of obviously moving people and kit around the world, but it feels like we're still seeing some quite, interesting, challenging kind of geopolitical issues, right? I mean, I think, US, China, and it's been a big kind of, is it deglobalization? Is that a concern for you, and how do you see that playing out?
For ourselves, not really. We're a very diverse business in the sense that we've got operations in a lot of countries around the world. We've got a diverse workforce, and we work for a very diverse client base. So I don't believe that's going to impact our business. We are seeing Mexico needs production. Africa, Nigeria needs production. They're all in decline. So I think in our business line, we're not going to be too badly affected by the fact that all these things are going, and we can be able to move around it.
So it's about sort of supportive governments, right? It's like people like Mexico saying we need production, we need you guys, and then sort of facilitating that investment.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, with them sorting out their financial issues, that's going to help a lot. They're also opening the doors to large industrial companies within Mexico to take on oil fields within Mexico. Obviously, a production sharing agreement with Pemex, and that should give greater access to capital where these companies are able to come in, finance the oil fields, and take their cut off the top of the production.
Perfect. Darren, thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thanks.